Okay, why don't we talk about Prezis? I don't use PowerPoints in this class. I use what's called Prezi. And while they really don't deserve a big learning curve, I do want to talk about them. I think it is warranted. So if we go into course material and we scroll down to where it says Prezi, you'll notice that there are a few links here. You could click on this link here and get all your Prezis for the entire course. If you are having problems, there's some notes here that say, well, you probably need to update your Adobe Flash, which is free at adobe.com, or maybe you just want to see a list of all the Prezis I offer. Maybe for whatever reason Blackboard and this link isn't working. You could click on here or right click, and I'm just going to open in a new tab, let's say. And you'll see my Prezi profile pop up, and if I click on that, you will see all the different Prezis I have available. Okay, and then you should be able to search, or if you hit more, you can scroll through. All right, but what we're going to do is get out of that, go back to Prezi and click here, and then you'll see you could print the Prezis. Again, for each subject, for each topic, there is a PDF version. Now I will remind you that and warn you that I constantly update Prezis, trying to make them as best as possible, and it's quite time consuming to save these PDFs. So these PDFs might be a bit outdated. While they wouldn't hurt you in any way, if you want the latest, then you're going to want to just go to this live link here. So speaking of live links, why don't we go to one? Why don't we, here I just taught about family, so why don't we click on family, and I will show you how this works. Now right now it might be in Blackboard. So right now if I hit back, because I'm in Blackboard, what I'm going to do, just in case you were having issues, I'm going to show you something else. So I want to go back to family. I may have to double click there. So now I'm back in Blackboard. Okay, I'm going to go back here. I'm going to right click though, because I don't want to be in Blackboard, so I'm not just going to click on it. I'm going to open up a new link tab. For whatever reason, if you click on that link, it keeps you in Blackboard unless you open in a new tab or new window. So here we go. What does it look like? What are some of its basic functions? If we go ahead and start it up at the beginning, I'm going to scroll out using my mouse. All right. Now it's moving a little slower. The internet must be moving pretty slow today, but this is what it starts to look like. It's pretty much a canvas, or a poster if you will, as some students call it. Right off the bat you get a recording of the Prezi. Now again, because I'm constantly updating little points on here, the recording or the saved PDF file might be a bit outdated, and I say it here as well. Again, it wouldn't harm you, but just to keep in mind. All right, so I'm going to go forward, and it begins with the introduction, and you can start to see how it moves. Here's the competencies, and I have this at the beginning of every lesson, and again I talk about it in the syllabus, that there's competencies and objectives, ways in which we know that we're hitting what we need to be hitting. And we could zoom in again if something was fuzzy, or if there was an infographic we want to get more detail. We could also click and drag and move this thing around, and we could hit play as well, here or here. Alright, but we're going to keep moving forward by just moving our arrow right forward. So I'm clicking again. So here's a video again. Maybe there's an infographic you really want to zoom in on. Okay. I'm going to go forward again. Okay, another slide. Another slide. And every once in a while you'll see, I'm going to stop it here, it skips over, either because, you know what, I want it there but it's not mandatory, so I'm not going to link it in, or we come back to it a little bit later. It's all on how I have it set up. So it's kind of nice because you get to explore without having to go slide by slide unless you want to. Oh, drop box. Okay, so we could keep moving forward, and this is just a typical one. So again, maybe you want to zoom in on something or zoom out, and just to show you, this is what it looks like if we zoom out. And every Prezi looks different. This one I just kind of threw them on the board. All right, you can have videos play immediately. Alright, you can zoom in, so you get to see how, and this is typically how my Prezis are set up. And again, they have a lot of live links. I don't think I have any in this class here or this PowerPoint, but again, you can start to see, and if they don't start immediately, you can hit play. Lots of activities. And this one doesn't have a lot of icons, but sometimes you'll see like a little brain, or you'll see something red that says activity, which are usually for my face-to-face classes, but you can certainly participate in the activities at home. You know, and again, some of these that we see here, Not all these videos are mandatory to watch. So how do you know what are mandatory? Well, first, I hope you're interested enough to explore and really watch all the videos, or a good portion of them. And one way to know if what you're watching is mandatory, because I link a lot of videos on here, is when you're taking your quiz, it will say Chapter 18, the video on, class, race, and gender, right? So I'll be very specific. So, but hopefully, this type of canvas, if you will, really generates an interest, gets you really wanting to look at this, these slides and these visuals and the videos as well. So, but sometimes, I might put something on here that maybe I want to talk about in class, and maybe I want you guys to explore, but I might hide it, so it might not be right out there in the open. So if you're hitting forward and it glosses over something, like there, if you saw in the right hand corner, there's a picture here. I sort of cut it out. It's there, but you don't see it. If you want to look at it, if you want to explore more, you can click right here. There's a Duggar family talking about families. So really, typically, just keep hitting forward, seeing these slides. Sometimes you'll see like, what's this? You might want to scroll up here and see, oh, here's a link. You could check out this link and learn more about it. So, and again, there's a canvas of all these goodies here, and you really should look at, especially anything that's in writing, you definitely should be looking at, reading it. So you keep going forward here. There's another one here, and this is typically what it'll look like. So, if it's important, you just keep going to the right, and I'll emphasize on it. So now if I were to go backwards, right? See, and then sometimes they'll start up. And then by the time we get to the end, I have a summary. All right, and that's it. If I keep clicking forward, nothing happens. So there it is. That's a basic Prezi. But why don't we exit, escape? I'm going to go back here and just show you maybe one more. We will do social class. Give it a second. Again, sometimes there's a pop-up blocker or whatnot, so you may have to try another browser, unblock it, update Adobe Flash. It just could be a few issues. Normally it doesn't happen, don't want to scare you, but sometimes it does. No big deal. So here again, this is what a typical one looks like. Alright, so maybe I'll start there in the middle. And by the way, they're large files sometimes, or the internet could be slow, so the images take a minute to boot up. And again, at the beginning of each Prezi is a recording of me sort of talking, walking through this. And especially if you miss a class or you're online and you don't come to class, you might want to watch it. They're about 15 minutes long. Not terribly long, certainly not as in-depth as a 3-hour class, but they help out. Here's an example of, again, you need to zoom in. You can do that. Okay. Right now I'm just kind of playing around with it, zooming in, pushing it over, scrolling to the next one. So again, it's not a PowerPoint where there's not a boring linear, so to speak, and videos to watch. Here you go. We'll keep moving on. Here's the activity I was telling you about. Sometimes you'll see these icons in which we do activities. Zoom in here. Here's a live link. If I click on that and if I escape, it should pop up here. So now I have an interactive website that I put here. And again, Adobe Flash helps. Having that updated. I could start to look here and see unemployment. If I were to zoom in, and I know there's a way to zoom in right here. Can I slide this over? Yeah. So here, this allows students to look. Here's Marathon County, and if we scroll up here a little bit, we can look at foreclosures, unemployment. So again, you can see how this Prezi is a little more interactive. So this is what you'll typically see when you link in a Prezi, and if it's not blown up like this, let me show you a few functions. Here's your forward button. Again, I'm just hitting my arrow, but you could also hit here. You could also put on a timer, which I never do, but you can. You can manually zoom in and out, and here you could do this as well. Also, and I will mention this, it's never been a problem, you could leave comments, I believe, somewhere on here, or share it. If you do leave comments, just make sure they're appropriate, because a lot of people see them. So, and looks like you can share it here again. Okay. And if you want to, you can even create these for your class. It's free. Prezi.com, and they're free here. That's what I use, and I really hope you enjoy them. I put a lot of effort into them. So again, here's how they look. And again, just to reiterate, most of the time this is what it looks like. Sometimes in between here you might see something that I gloss over, like a video. You don't have to watch it. I think a good rule of thumb is if you hit forward and it's right there in the center, it's within these brackets or whatever, then you really should check it out. But every once in a while, you might find something way up here, that I don't necessarily need to talk about, you don't necessarily need to know, and you'll know come quiz time. So hopefully I'm not confusing you there. Alright, so this is pretty much what it looks like. Zoom in, but there's a lot of information. There we go. Okay, moving on. So you can see what these look like, and they're all different. Really quick, why don't I show you one more? We'll back out because we're still in Blackboard. Let me double click that. Sometimes you have to double click. Let me just show you one more. Why don't I go toward the end? And you are seeing slides in Prezi's for the introduction to sociology. So again, if you're a social problem student or one of my students in my ethics class, you might see different chapters. All right. So again, you got recordings. Every once in a while, there's 2 recordings. Usually, they're no more than 15 minutes. So if I zoom out, right, there's like a 3D picture here. All right, go forward. Our main ideas. You can start to see, again, the internet for some reason slow today here at the NTC campus, but you get an idea. Again, see something like this. Just sort of grab your interest. Nothing, entirely too important, but, maybe you want to look at it more like a canvas and not slide by slide. So there's a video to watch right here. Okay, another video there. Let's see. So, what I'm really in here, just right here, I put a little, so if this deals with like maybe a global perspective, I'll put a little icon there. It's just something to gravitate your eyes towards, capture some interest, some of those things. Let's see, anything else new worth reporting? If we stop here, you can see here's another link right here. You could zoom in. So sometimes I usually put like a little computer if it's a link online. Alright, I think that's about it. I think we got enough to show you. I'm just kind of zooming through these real quick here to see if there's anything else. And that should be about it. So I think you got a good idea of what Prezis look like. If you have any questions, let me know. Again, be sure to go to adobe.com to check those out. Alright. And or adobe.com if you need to update, I should say. I'm sorry. But for 99.9% of the time, there won't be any problems. So, and again, where you got this video was in the course materials section. You will see Prezi link right here. Okay, the video you're watching will be right here, and here's some other links. And if you click on this right here, this is where you get all your chapters. All right, have fun. I will talk to you later. Shoot me an email or call me if you have any questions.